What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you today with more Danmachi. Now, as you guys know, tonight we are getting the Winter Reverie rerun in, and I kind of want to address this in comparison to like the current banners we have, because I think we all know the current banners are absolutely spectacular. So while they may have been a little underrated at the time they dropped, at least in my opinion, I think there's no question that those banners have spoken for themselves. Now, the new Winter Reverie banner, or say the Winter Reverie rerun banner that's incoming, is a bit interesting, alright? So let's go ahead and get into this and kind of have just a little discussion about this banner in comparison to the other one. Before I do that, though, I want to address the new, because this is a before you summon video, the new Winnie unit that we're getting on Friday, the anime unit. This unit is I believe in my heart of hearts, a must-have, okay? Allow me to explain. First of all, if you didn't watch the data mine video, we got all the information on her. Big shout out to Lesser Dragon for that one. So, skill 1 for this new Winnie, and yes, she is an adventurer. I told you guys we'd get an adventurer of her. Skill 1 is all allies, fast, strength and magic plus 40%, dex and agility plus 20%. That's where it's going to make a huge difference in Wargame. Plus, here's the really interesting thing about that one Wargame, that fast agility, or that fast action, will most likely take place in buff people that do late game buffs. Cough, cough, lead, cough, cough, the new Thilvis. So, ponder, ponder. So, fast, strength, and magic plus 40%, dex and agility plus 20%, gain 30% HP heal for 4 turns. It's super handy. Super, super handy. Now, in most other situations, I would say use skill 2. Skill 2 is your big sack skill. Okay, foes plural, super earth physical attack, AoE and single target resistance down 20%. Very good skill. Not end of the world stuff, but definitely something we've seen before. Though, critical rate and penetration rate down 40%. So, if we're talking, you're going to use this in like Wargame, I'm sorry, not Wargame. You'd use skill 1 in Wargame. Skill 2 you would use in like Record Buster, 7th Zone, if we get more EX events, which we inevitably will, things like that. Skill 2 is going to be spectacular for. Okay, so skill 2 is definitely an excellent sack skill. So if nothing else, you don't necessarily need a maximum breaker, but have one so you can use skill 2 of that sack. Interesting, so skill 1 is a buff, skill 2 is a foe's plural. Usually skill 3 would be a foe singular, but like with the wealth we got last week, skill 3 is a foe's plural. Slow, earth physical attack with ultra and counter rate. Extend debuffs for 2 turns, allies extend buff for 2 turns. Now, this is literally the same third skill that Harahime has, except, there's a big except, it has an attack along with it. Now, if you use her for whatever reason in conjunction with Harahime, first of all, it's kind of a weird tactic. I can see it, but you could extend buffs like to the moon. Like nobody could debuff you at that point. It'd be wild. I really don't see that being very viable for most situations. Now there's like Earth teams. If you build an Earth physical team, sure, she's gonna be absolutely spectacular, and you could use her instead of Harahime if you had someone else that did the debuffs. That'd be great. Now, obviously, at that point, you are getting rid of the strength and magic 100% buff that Harahime does, and it's kind of like her biggest, most craziest skill. But for things like Familia Rush and stuff like that, where sometimes it actually pays to do other skills instead of that, this actually would pay out. So there are situations where Winnie is going to definitely be a great asset. I think this is way better even than her assist unit. So this unit is almost a must. And the best part is we're going to get 2 chances at her for free. So absolutely spectacular. So good luck to everyone out there. Hopefully you pull her. Let's go back to the Winter Reverie and talk about these units. And I'm actually going to kick this off by talking about the assists, all right? We're going to talk about the Ryu assist first things first, okay? I'm going to actually start with the assists just in general, because my big thing with assists, I say if you're going to go after assists, you want to consider one thing and one thing only. You have to max limit break assists if you're going to chase them. I know a lot of people don't like hearing that, but it is true. Like, it's the only way you get the maximum amount of their abilities, okay? So let's go ahead. I'm going to switch back over to the game here. Okay? So here is Ryu's assist skill. Allies. Damage received, attack all and single targets minus 15%. Fire resist plus 15%. So I think this is like a really bad assist skill. This is like just pointless. So you could do the attack all and single target plus and minus 15%. That's actually good. That could actually help you defensively. But the fire resistance? I mean, most all our units already have fire resistance, especially nowadays, built in. Ryu, for me, hard pass. Honestly. Just a really, really hard pass. Now, if we're going to go back over to the banners here, and I think that's just real simple. I don't think there's much discussion to be had there. That said, we have a Taki unit that is incoming, and this unit is actually really worth chasing. So Taki, first of all, let's talk about his skills. We're going to Maxima break him. Almost 1,000 HP. Great. Absolutely spectacular there. Physical attack is huge. Physical attack is 603. That's a really substantial physical attack. Okay. Now, let's look at his skills. And agility actually is pretty good at 418 too. So physicals were good. HP is good. Agility is good. None of these are going to blow you away. So aside from the physical attack, it's actually really spectacular. But great skills either way. Like, I won't even say good. I'll say great skills, okay? So, really good for a physical team. Now, ailment resist 100%. But it's a self-skill. So whoever he's tied to is going to get 100% ailment resistance. Now, we've seen this in units before, and this is super handy. Then it says strength, endurance, and agility, and dex 20%. If you have a unit in Wargame that you want to like make sure they survive 100%, bam. Basically, he is just a slightly better version of that Freya unit that we all went after earlier in the spring. And this is a unit that is a year old. I don't think he got rebalanced. I think he's just staying put with this. This is what we've had, and this is what he's staying with. Unless the rebalances are already in game, but I don't believe so. So, Taki is an absolute must. He is like the #1 unit that you should be chasing after in this Winter Reverie. And in fact, I would say anybody that's going into this banner probably should go into this banner, go into this one specifically to chase Taki. He is absolutely wonderful and easily the best unit in this banner. No questions asked. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the banner. It's Taki and it's Harahime. And I think you guys already know, I'm going to tell you 100% you want this Harahime. I'm going to go ahead and pull her up while I'm kind of chit-chatting here for a moment. But this Harahime unit is absolutely substantial. All right? So let's go ahead and bring her up here. That was smooth, right? Nice little transition. Bam! All right. So we're going to... So I've got her at +1, and I still use her at +1. Even at +1, her stats not the best, but for what she does, she's worth. I'm going to be going after her to Maxima Breaker on this banner. 100%. Might mean I have to wail, but it's a thing. Okay? Status board. Here's what we got with her. Okay? Skill 1 is a foes, plural, fast, mid-water magic attack with ultra and counter rate, allies physical resist and magic resist plus 35%. So, remember the other Harahime goes out and debuffs strength and magic. This one buffs your strength and magic resistance. They work so well together. If you have the two of them, you could take on damn near anything. It's really wild because your resistance becomes so insane and so immense that your personal resistance has become a crazy hurdle. When this Harahime dropped in the game last year, the two Harahimes were basically the stall meta for like 6 months or something like that. It was even up through the anniversary, you would still see them in Wargame together. Now, I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case with units we have today. Units we have today definitely would kind of cripple these units. But, that said, they're still a very good team. And with a lot of the EX events and things like that we have going on, these two can definitely hold their own. Now, this is once again talking about her stats at Max Limit Break. If you don't Max Limit Break her, you might have a tough time. But she's definitely worth the star bonds. As someone who did not put the star bonds into her last year, and I'm going into her this year, I could tell you from experience, I kind of wish I had. Honestly. It was really more stubbornness and caution that led me not to. There were a lot of events in the last year that I could have taken on had I had her max limit broken. Now, that said, I would go after Taki first. And the best part is, since your pulls are half price for the non 4-star guaranteed, you could just hit this banner all day long for whatever you'd put into other banners. It's totally worth. So, yeah, great unit. Skill 2, and this is the really good one. This is the one that's about to get rebalanced. This shows me that rebalances are not in-game currently. Allies, 10% MP heal, strength, magic, and water attack damage plus 20%. Not the end of the world, but it's a thing. That said, that becomes 15% MP heal after the rebalances go into effect here in a couple of hours. So, guys, that's substantial. That's awesome. 15% NP heal. Like, 5% doesn't make a difference to you, but once you get in the game, once you use these skills, once you get going, that is going to make a world of difference to you. That rebalance makes her so much better. Skill 3, allies, 30% HP heal, ally status debuffs, and foe status buffs minus 2 turns. Literally, she's like the anti-OG Harahime in this skill. This skill will cripple opponents. It is so good. If you have her on your wargame team and you set her to heal, she's just literally going to like debuff the opponent to hell and back. It's going to be wild. Now, to be fair, really the better build would probably be to set her to balance so she does 1 and then 3, but neither here nor there. Spectacular. Absolutely spectacular build. In fact, I don't know if she would do that in debuff. Maybe if she set the debuff, she'd do 1 and then 2. Or, I'm sorry, 1 and then 3. I don't know. I'd have to play with her. I don't remember exactly how she behaves because it's been so long since I've used her because, like I said, mine's only +1. But I don't honestly think she's a great wargame unit anymore. Let's go look at her stats and compare her to, like, what we have in the game current. So, like, HP 2294, she goes squish pretty quick. Like, and that's at max limit break. Now, if we fully ascend her, 3444. That's good, but not world ending, you know what I mean? Like, 4K is like the sweet spot. This is kind of that thing where I always talk about where magic units do tend to squish a little bit. And her magic isn't super high. So, nor is her defense, nor really is her MP. Though, to be fair, she doesn't need her MP. She's really more of a support unit for other events. You know, your 7th zones, your EX missions, things like that. Bosses, Familia Rushes, Familia Royale, things of that nature. She's better for that. I think she's still a very good unit, though. A year later, I'm still looking forward to going in and max level breaking Harahime. I think she's a really solid unit. Now, one last unit to talk about here. And I think it's hilarious that Harahime is on his banner and not this next unit, but Chagusa. The Winter Chagusa. Now, I have one of this Chagusa, and I think she's okay, honestly. I think she's alright, but I'm not really enamored by her. This is the Winter Chagusa, the one that's getting rerun tonight, and I believe this was actually the last Chagusa we received in the game? Yeah. This is the last Chagusa unit we actually received in the game. Boy, she needs some representation. Alright, so at full ascend, max limit break here, once again, her HP leaves a little bit to be desired. It's about 300 below where we'd like to be. If you don't think that makes a difference, it actually does. It does kind of, in my mind, put her kind of in that squish category. Now, physical attack is extremely high. Physical attack is nothing to be sneezed at. Agility is also pretty high, so she's a good unit in that respect. Now, what does she do? Self, fast SA gauge charge, 100%, agility and dex plus 75% for 5 turns. That means she's going first, in most situations. Not all, but most. Okay? And the fact this is a fast skill means that every attack she's going to do is going to get that 100% SA gauge charge. If you haven't used a unit that has the skill is incredible. It's really good. And she's a foes, plural, Super water physical attack with temporary strength boost. Ultra encounter rate and self removes status debuffs. So she removes all debuffs on herself, which is pretty wild. Now I wish that became an all allies status debuff removal. She's getting a rebalance. I don't remember what her rebalance is, but I remember it didn't enamor me in any way. So honestly, she's a good unit, but check your expectations before going in here, because then, while she has this AoE, she doesn't really have any crazy buffs. You know, her only buffs are agility and dex. So this hit, while good, is not going to be substantial. It's not going to be anything really, you know, sad, but it's also not going to be amazing. You're not going to be, you know, blown away by the damage. Especially in the day and age that we are in now. You know, she's only a double S physical stat. I believe she goes up to triple S when she gets a buff. I don't recollect the exact numbers, but I believe she goes up to triple S, but it's just going to be like that much. She's not going to be crazy. Okay. Foe singular for skill 3. High water physical attack, plus 25% per each self dex buff, and ultra penetration rate. I think that goes up to 30%, if I recollect, is one of her big rebalances. But again, she's an AoE unit predominantly. You're not really going to use her as a single target. You could, but it really isn't going to pay in the long run. So while Chagusa has some good stats, I'm not really blown away by her. And her SA, foes, plural, ultra water physical attack with damage plus 25% per each self, agility, and dex buff, and ultra and guard rate. I think that once again goes up to 30 or 35. I think this one actually is 35% if I recollect. Don't quote me on that. And that's good, because then your agility and dex buffs all take you up to like 70%. And if you have agility and dex buffs on your assists, that takes you up to 140%. I believe that's the math. It's either 120 or 140. 140 is a lot more impressive, so we're just going to assume that's the number. Either way, 120, 140 is not a bad buff. So that skill is going to hit really well. But check your expectations first, because she does not have a water attack damage buff. She needs a water attack damage buff. She really does. She doesn't have a strength buff or a water attack damage buff, and she really requires those in order to go crazy. Now, we do have some of those in game. There are some that can help you out. But before going wild on this unit, check your expectations. She's an SA gauge charge unit. She's not an end of the world unit. So I really feel like, honestly, in order of importance, if I was going to go back here, I would say first hit this banner. Taki is your first goal. Harahime is your second goal. And I mean, he's going to be so useful in so many things going forward, especially Wargame. He's still used in Wargame, and it says something that a year later, with all the power creep we've had, that he's still that good. Harahime, I would say, has fallen off the map a little bit, but she still is going to pull you out of the fire in a lot of situations. So, first goal, second goal. This is kind of the afterthought. Chagusa, sure, you get some Iris left over. You're never going to use Ryu. You're never going to use Ryu. Ever. Ever. Really rare situation, and even in that situation, I would argue you would find a better assist. So, honestly, skip this banner. If maybe get one Chagusa and walk away happy, if that. I've used her in certain situations with no bonds, just to get like that little tiny like trickle of charge. It's weird, but it works sometimes. But honestly, this banner all the way. This banner, skip. This banner, go after them. Enjoy it. That's my opinion. Let me know if you guys have a differing opinion in the comment section down below. And don't forget at least one Winnie. Gotta get at least one Winnie. I'm going to Maximum Breaker. I'm excited for her. I think she's going to be absolutely awesome. So, we have a new talent coming. You're going to get some Iris for that. Hopefully we'll get some, maybe we'll get a 4-star ticket or something like that. I didn't see one in the data mines, but that doesn't mean that it's not there. We just, I don't think we got one last year, so I'm grasping at straws. I'm hoping, all right? Look, a do can hope. Also, there is a Hestia that you can maximum break from the tail, but I'm not going to include her in my assessment here because you want to know about summoning, not about that unit, but she's very, very good. Make sure you do maximum break her and take advantage of her while she's there. Phrasing. But that is the video. Like, comment, share. I'll be back at you guys with the Danmachi live stream here. We might be a little after 9 p.m. tonight, but we're going to be pretty close. So, hope to see y'all there.